Being abandoned in the outdoors is never a healthy thing for young animals. Their prospects of surviving are extremely slim since they have no mother to support them and no siblings to keep them company. When this grizzly bear cub lost his mother, he believed his life was over. But then he met a strange new buddy. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. For wildlife that is growing up in the outdoors, life can be difficult. This grizzly bear discovered for himself that sometimes unfavorable circumstances can result in young animals being left to fend for themselves without their moms. This narrative began with a single animal in Alaska that summer in 2020. A grizzly mother was tending to her lone youngster. To start with, everything had been going smoothly. The mother bear and her baby had lived typical bear lives, eating, playing, and showing affection for one another. But at some point in November of that year, the newborn grizzly found himself abruptly alone. Therefore, something terrible must have occurred to the mother bear. The mother bear's fate is unknown. It's possible that she passed away tragically, or that the two animals just drifted apart. But in any case, it meant the youngster was now on his own. The juvenile bear cub began loitering around Talkeetna, not prepared for survival and without the abilities he needed to hunt and defend himself. Since he had not yet learned how to hunt for himself, it was possible that he could smell the food coming from the nearby houses and was scavenging for something to eat. The little cub was soon observed by an Alaska Department of Fish and Game ranger. For a few days, they kept an eye on the little bear and wondered if its mother was hidden in the surrounding bushes. They were hesitant to take action too quickly in case a misunderstanding led to the two of them being split up. However, the ranger realized they needed to act to preserve the animal's life after realizing it was alone. After the bear was securely in the ranger's care, they chose to call him Jebby and gave him a full medical examination to see whether he required any urgent assistance. The bear's weight was found to be just 76 pounds, or 34 kilograms, once it was assessed. He was underweight by about 20 pounds. Not the greatest finding, but not too horrible either, as the cub would quickly put that weight back on once he started eating more frequently. Jebby was declared fit for travel after the health examination revealed no further issues. After receiving the all-clear, Jebby was scheduled to be transferred to the Detroit Zoo's Arctic Ring of Life exhibit. One of the biggest polar bear zoo habitats in the world is this enclosure. It has a 190,000-gallon saltwater pool, a pack ice area, and a grassy tundra for the bears. Nevertheless, why was a grizzly bear being transferred to a polar bear pen? It appears that the Detroit Zoo was home to a bear cub that was abandoned. It was a polar bear this time, and they had thought up a plan they believed would succeed. Just prior to Jebby's rescue in Alaska, a bear family at the Detroit Zoo was generating headlines. That year, a 16-year-old male bear named Nuka mated with an 8-year-old female bear named Suka, who gave birth to many pups. It was a huge victory for the zoo and for conservation efforts because they were the first newborn polar bears to be born and nurtured there since 2004. Regretfully, Laerka, one of the cubs, fell quite ill a few days after she was born. She began to grow quite weak and immobile. When the zoo workers realized something wasn't right, they had to make a very tough decision. Should they step in to help Laerka recuperate on her own, or should they let nature take its course? The staff's knowledge that the mother might not accept the little cub back if she was taken away presented the only obstacle to interfering. This was due to the fact that the first few days are a very important period for the mother and her kids to bond. If Laerka was removed at this time, she would miss it, pick up human odor, and maybe face rejection from her own mother. The team finally seized the little animal and hurried her to the Ruth Roby Glancy Animal Health Complex for round-the-clock care after concluding that there was no other choice. Fortunately, the bear lived and was recovering fully. The team was thrilled to hear this news and made the unsuccessful attempt to reintroduce Laerka to her mother and brothers. They were right to fear that Suka might stop identifying the infant as her own. According to Detroit Zoological Society, DZS, Chief of Life Sciences Scott Carter, Suka is a great mother and very protective of Laerka's sister Astra, but it's clear that she no longer recognizes Laerka as her cub. There was no way Lerky could go back to her mother and sister. The cub's upbringing until she was old enough to enter an enclosure fell to the staff now. Staff was concerned that Lerky would have to grow up alone, as there were no other polar bear babies to live with her. That is, until they found out about Jebby's situation. The zoo greeted the grizzly cub warmly, as he had nowhere else to go. To test if Jebby and Lerk would get along, they made the decision to house them together. In this manner, the cubs wouldn't have to grow up by themselves. We contacted state organizations who commonly have to find homes for grizzly bear cubs who are orphaned because there are no other polar bear cubs that we can bring here to live with her. We are overjoyed to be able to provide Jebby refuge and give Lerk a much-needed friend, Carter remarked. This social growth holds great significance for Jebby and Lerk. The two bears hit it off right away, and the scheme worked out better than anticipated. Like siblings from birth, they were quick friends and enjoyed every moment spent together. The two cubs liked playing with their toys, wrestling with one another, and splashing around in their pools. Jebby transferred to the Arctic Ring of Life polar bear building following a period of quarantine and examination by DZS doctors. There, he and Lerk, the hand-reared polar bear cub at Detroit Zoo, have been progressively getting to know one another. According to a zoo press release, the two juvenile bears now spend their days together, wrestling and playing with toys. The zoo has kindly captured footage of the two bears playing and racing around the grassy tundra, where Jebby typically wins, and swimming in their pools, where Lerk appears to excel, since the bears were first introduced to one another. It is not surprising that there is a noticeable size difference between the two bears in the footage. When they grow up, Lerka will be around 6 to 8 feet long and weigh up to 650 pounds, while Jebby may reach 8 feet in height and 800 pounds in weight. Bear cubs often spend up to 3 years learning how to hunt, eat, swim, and survive with their moms. These two are depending on one another to teach them the essential survival skills they would require in the wild, because they do not have moms to teach them. These two bears would probably not survive in the wild. Thus, it is doubtful that they will ever be returned there. Rather, they will live contentedly next to each other in the zoo and spend their days together there. When they grow up, it's unclear if they will be kept apart because they could both contribute to the preservation of their species. Or who knows, maybe in a few years, we'll see some half-grizzly, half-polar baby bears roaming about. Isn't it just too cute? The two bears are still housed in the Detroit Zoo, so if you're ever in the neighborhood, you can definitely stop by and say hi. I think it's absolutely worth watching, just to observe how these two distinct kinds of bear get together, as if they had been born to the same mother. These two undoubtedly have a lesson for us humans to learn. Have you recently gone to the Detroit Zoo? If yes, did you see Lerky and Jebby? Tell me in the comments section below. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.